Well, listen. If you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help.
For years, Whoopi Goldberg has governed the globe as if it were her own little realm, keeping out visitors, suppressing opposing viewpoints, and asserting her own as though it were unalterable. But then she met Karoline Leavitt, and the daytime TV queen was overthrown in one cruel episode. What followed was a surprise.
Can't allow on this show to have things said that we know for a fact are not true.
The usual left-leaning panel nodded in agreement with whatever was being said as the day's show got underway like any other, with loads of sarcasm and smug laughter. But the moment Whoopi opened her mouth, the atmosphere shifted. The topic of the day? Being conscious. The View basically takes this word as gospel. They will do whatever it takes to defend this concept. Perhaps overconfident, Whoopi decided to take the opening shot. "Without wokeness, you wouldn't even have this job," she said, using her characteristic sneer to blame Karoline.
I think clarify, she's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
The air in the room was pulled out instantly. Even Joy Behar, who is supposed to make fun of conservatives, shifted uncomfortably in her seat. This was not just a disagreement. Whoopi was dismissing Karoline's whole career, intelligence, and work ethic as the product of the same idea she opposed. The audience knew it was a low blow.
I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back after the channel. Karoline, thank you very much for your time.
That was so good. That was so good. In a statement afterwards, this young lady claimed her, quote, on-air snub proves that you-know-who will not be treated fairly in the upcoming debate. Now, do you think this is going to make people doubt whether CNN can stay objective, or is this more of the same of, everybody's against me, it's all rigged, I tell you. Is everything rigged?
No, it's their MO. That's what they do. Rachel Maddow said last week, she's like, if the election is lost, it was rigged. If there's a debate, then the moderators...
Yet they still applauded. But Karoline did not flinch. She didn't get aggressive. Instead, she smiled. Oh, that slow, knowing smile of hers was a tremendous mistake. Then, with the calm that only comes from knowing you have the facts on your side, she shredded Whoopi's whole argument. Since this is unlike anything you have ever seen, we humbly ask that you like and subscribe as we continue.
The most divisive and disgusting speech that any president, certainly in my lifetime, has ever given. He essentially waged war on half of the country by saying that we are all a threat to democracy because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economies around the world. You know, we have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race and gender and sex and all of this other BS, quite frankly.
She started out by pointing to government spending data that showed how absurd it was that public money was being used to pay for such initiatives, from gender studies in Guatemala to Sesame Street programs created to support American state advocacy abroad. She explained everything clearly, showing how wokeness had evolved from a movement that promoted justice to a political instrument used to silence anybody who dared to have a contrary opinion. Whoopi was put in a difficult position since she was used to guests fumbling over their words when questioned. Even if Karoline wanted to return the applause, she wouldn't.
Well, listen. If you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on. that's what you hear.
Yeah.
When they don't have anything to hold you with, nothing to make you think about what they have to say, they talk at you, not to you. And that's what she was doing. And she was doing it, and it's not new.
No.
But everybody's hip to you all now.
Yeah.
And we are anticipating that you are not prepared. Because you keep saying you going and you preparing when you're on
Even the camera crew was hesitant to focus on Whoopi's shocked face, since she seemed like she wanted to pass out in her chair after the terrible comment. Whoopi parted her lips, then shut them again, but nothing came of it. The audience, usually ready to cheer Whoopi's humor, stayed enthralled.
That you saw live on this program yesterday. Joy Behar stirring the pot of controversy after saying this about Karoline.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
Do you want to take this?
No, you cannot be attractive and smart. I will try to give Joy the benefit of, oh, thank you. I try to give Joy the benefit of the doubt that she didn't see that briefing. Because if you saw that yesterday on numerous topics, no big binder, I think she might have had a different impression of this young woman who held her own.
I mean, you would have to give her the benefit of the doubt that she did absolutely no research or reading about anything dealing with Karoline Leavitt before she made that remark. Mm-hmm. Because Karoline Leavitt worked, I mean, she went to St. Anselm College, she worked for WMUR
Ran
TV.
for Congress?
In New Hampshire, she ran for Congress at the age of 25, put out a very good campaign. She lost by 8 or 9 points, but she still put on a good campaign. Then she was the press secretary for the Trump campaign, going on TV literally every day.
Well, heavily pregnant and a new mom.
Pregnant. Yeah, she's a new mother. And then she goes out yesterday and gives and this again, this is speaking very objectively, because I've watched every press secretary since going back to Marlon Fitzwater. Yeah, I'm that old. And she went out there for her very first briefing at the age of 27 years old, the youngest press secretary ever, and did a terrific job of
In fact, if wokeness is really about diversity and inclusiveness, then why are conservative women often the focus of attacks?
Yeah. I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason. Because Black people couldn't get into colleges. Because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not Black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's world, and we busted our asses to make sure that this was
Whoopi was now realizing that she had no means of saving face, no witty remark that could save her. Joy tried to pull herself together with a nervous joke, but it was too late. Whoopi's latest move, which was unprecedented even for her, sent the internet into a frenzy. But here is where things became even stranger.
To add one last thing, what was interesting to me is Dan Rather weighed in on X, and he said, he compared our time now to the Nixon era, which was a little scary for me. But he said, enough with both sides-ism. When one side lies intentionally and repeatedly, they are no longer entitled to the benefit of the doubt.
And we should keep in mind, too, that the people that need to hear this are the people who are running the networks that are okaying this. Because this idea, it's like they say to you now, you can only work within this perimeter. But if the facts are not clear to people, that was what a journalist was there to do, to say, in fact, this is what went on and this is how we checked. Now, we've been given doubts that people don't know how to do this. The media has pretty much always been.
Before, Whoopi's tongue had written a check that she couldn't afford. Over the years, she has turned The View into a lawsuit hotspot, entangling ABC in a slew of scandals. From her tone-deaf remarks about the Holocaust to her odd defenses of questionable people, Whoopi has been engaged in some of the most notable issues on the show. The network suffered its greatest setback, meanwhile, from the most recent defamation claims. Karoline Leavitt came after Elon